All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today I want to talk about Lemon Law EVs, in particular, of course, Taycan, since that's the one that I ended up going with. And if you're looking at these cars, you realize that they are everywhere. I know I've made multiple videos about how I feel like these EVs are a much better deal nowadays with all the depreciation they're experiencing, but you might go a little bit too far down that rabbit hole and realize you're looking at cars that have a lemon title. And yes, they look like great deals at face value, but it might be more risk than you want to bite off. So in this video, we'll talk about what Lemon Law is, why there are so many, again, in particular, Taycans that are Lemon Law cars for sale, and also, you know, is it worth the risk, and ultimately why I decided not to go that route. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Also, I already see the GoPro shaking, so just a comment from my previous videos. No, the steering wheel on the car isn't shaking. It's not super rough. It's just my GoPro mount is worn out, so the GoPro is constantly vibrating while I drive, so that's why things look shaky. Don't worry, I'm working on getting a new one. Anyway, so a Lemon Law EV is not anything brand new. Lemon Law cars are something that has been out there for a very long time. The whole point of Lemon Law is to say if your car is a quote-unquote lemon, then the manufacturer needs to do something to compensate you. So sometimes they give you a partial refund, give you some money for, you know, the time that you didn't have the car. Maybe they pay a couple of your payments for you, or sometimes they just completely buy the car back or replace it with a new vehicle. So it kind of depends on the situation and the state and the manufacturer to tell you, you know, how easy or hard that will be. But in most cases, it's pretty straightforward. So I'll say, like in Ohio, for example, you have about a year to get your Lemon Law claim submitted. So in your first year or 18,000 miles, if something goes wrong and you feel like it indicates the car is a lemon, then you can submit a claim. Usually that means that they need to have the car for a certain amount of time, or they've tried to repair it a certain number of times and it's still not fixed. So it's kind of making it seem like the car can't be fixed and is, again, a lemon. So that's something that would go into this. It's not just, oh, I had a problem, the engine blew up or whatever. It needs to be something where essentially the vehicle looks like it's just a problem child and it's never going to be perfect. Now, again, it's very state by state. So some states are a lot more conservative on the requirements, or maybe leaning more to the consumer. So in California, you have a much longer time, whereas, you know, you might think for a year, that's not even the full warranty period. That kind of sucks. In California, you'll get over a year on a new car purchase or lease in order to submit a Lemon Law claim. So it really varies state by state, but considering California is making it much easier than some states to, you know, say your car is a lemon, and EVs are extremely popular in California, that kind of already leans us into the current trend that we're seeing. I think the biggest issue, of course, is the ones where they have to replace something multiple times. So maybe they're replacing a certain sensor or something with your brakes, something's rattling, whatever. If they have to do it more than 4 times, or in some cases, if it's more like a safety feature, if they have to replace it more than 2 times and it's still not fixed, then they can write it off as a lemon vehicle. And the thing with that is, I found it funny that anybody can sell a lemon car. Like I said, if you scroll through cars.com or Auto Tempest, you'll see there are entire dealers that all they do are sell cars that were bought back by Porsche or Ford or whatever. But you'll even find some lemon cars sold by actual Porsche dealerships. I actually stumbled upon one that I was reaching out to them because I was wondering about the vehicle, and they sent me the Carfax, and I noticed that it was a lemon title. It didn't even say it on the listing. I only saw it on the Carfax report. And so you might be looking at it and saying, well, you know, it's coming from a dealer. Yeah, they bought it back, but they fixed it. So now they're selling a car that's repaired. But think about how many times they thought they fixed it in the past. Is that something that gives you the confidence to take that car long term? You know, I think that kind of speaks for itself. Also, keep in mind with those cars, like I was buying it from a Porsche dealership. It was less than 2 years old. It had less than 20,000 miles on it. So I was thinking, you know, maybe it still had the rest of the vehicle warranty on it. No, as soon as they make it a lemon law buyback, the warranty is over. It doesn't matter how new it is or how many miles are on it. So it's just something else to consider. No matter how fresh the car might seem and how fixed it might be, they're not even willing to put their warranty behind it and put confidence behind their repairs. So for me, in a car that I'm using as just being a daily driver, something that I'm looking for reliability and stuff like that, that's definitely not going to be my first choice. I will say I think the number one reason why Taycans, especially in California, are being, written off as a lemon is because of their time requirements. So if your car is at the dealership for more than 30 days, then your car can be written off as a lemon. It doesn't necessarily mean that it took them more than 30 days to repair it though, because remember, Taycans came out in 2020. Things were a little different in 2020 and 21, right? Some of you might remember that. So if you have a failure in your EV, it's most likely something that is an electrical component, something that uses chips, screens, all the stuff that we had shortages of back then. And so if your car was just waiting for a replacement screen or a replacement sensor or something for more than 30 days to come from Germany, you could write it off as a lemon. It was literally as simple as that. But you'll see if you look at the Carfax report that in a lot of cases there's only one repair, but it was waiting for more than 30 days. And, it was just, again, a replacement PCM screen or, piece of glass or something that they couldn't get in time. And so the customer chose to just get their money back and get a new vehicle. So in those cases, it might seem like it's a pretty good deal, but there is one big catch. My biggest concern is no matter what, the car is going to have a lemon branded title. It's just like a salvage or rebuilt title. It doesn't go away just because the car has been fixed. So no matter what in the future, somebody's going to be wondering if there's another issue just waiting to creep up on this car. And you can explain how simple it was and how it's been problem free, but that's not going to take the risk away. And that was my biggest issue. Even in these cases where it seemed like it was pretty low risk, they weren't dropping the price enough to reflect the lemon title. Now, if you're buying it from somebody that's had it for 5 years and they tell you that the car has been fine, you might be willing to take that risk, but I still think that the cars should be much more significantly discounted than they currently are being with those lemon titles. And I even mentioned when I was looking at this car with dealerships, I just don't feel like they were catching up with the times. Their prices weren't reflecting the current value and what people were willing to pay for the cars. So I waited until I found a better deal. But you'll see a lot of people will not want to do that. They won't want to budge on the price because they feel like the car is just as good as it was and the title doesn't really change anything. And in my opinion, because of the way the title works and how people will view it in the future, there absolutely should be a price reduction to compensate for that. So overall, I'll say, there's a reason why I didn't get one. If it was just my personal car or a project car or something, I might not shy away from it. Obviously, I've bought a car from Copart, so I'm not completely against buying like a risky vehicle with a, messed up history. But for something like this, where again, it's going to be a car that I just want to be able to rely on, something for daily driving, normal use, I'm not going to be modifying it or anything. I really just want something that works and something that I can rely on. So a lemon law car was not that for me, especially not at the prices that they were selling them for. If they were cheaper and reflecting the risk that the buyer is taking on by taking one, maybe I would consider going that route in the future. But at this point, it just didn't seem to make all the numbers work out. So let me know what you think. Have you been looking at any of these lemon law cars? Do you have one? Has it been something that worked out for you, or did you completely regret it? Leave a comment down below and let me know. But otherwise, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.